I was playing some practice games for WWBC, the last event, Event 8. I had a really great Lee mirror with BorknBeans that I wanted to kind of play and commentate because, he's a really good player and he's been playing a lot more Lee, and obviously I play a lot of Lee, so this ends up being a really interesting game between two highly skilled Lee players. And there's a lot to review and go over. So Bork starts by grabbing Frontier Hawk, which is obviously a great pickup for basically any commander, but Lee especially. But we see this lineup has a simulator in it, which is basically a game winner. He does not pair the Scout Bot, which means he's violating rule number 1 of playing Lee. You always got to do that. It's against the rules. You should know better. But he's going to go for an Explorer here. And in order to pair it, he's actually going to gambit and scrap the Frontier Hawk so that he can put the Explorer on top of his deck and challenge and make a run for the Assimilator. I think he's got exactly enough econ in his deck to get it. He's got the mining mech, welder drone, the 2/2, so he's going to make it a go at it. I don't have these kinds of options. I'm kind of just assuming that he's going to get it, so I just need to make the best play I have with what I can. So I'm just going to go here, pick up the Fed Cruiser. And so he looks at his hand, and he's got the Explorer, he's got the Mighty Mech, but he doesn't have that last 3 econ, and he doesn't think that the Explorer discard draw is really going to get him there. So he goes the safer route of Mobile Market, and kind of just does a discard and draw, and it's a great play because I'm certainly not in any position this turn to get a Assimilator. And he's just going to pick up on another Explorer so that when he shuffles up, he's got the best odds to it that he can. But obviously last turn, I'm on this mindset that I am not getting this Assimilator. So I need to make a play for it. I'm just going to go for a nice little safe scrap, pick up the Explorer, throw it on top of my deck, get some damage in, and so I can hopefully challenge him and get it if he doesn't. And I've still got my Gambit, which hopefully will work in my favor. So he's going to start using that alignment ingenuity to fish for enough econ, and he is going to pick it up. And now I'm in danger. He also picks up an alignment bot for some extra scrap or discard later. So, in this position, I'm not feeling so hot. So at this point, my only kind of recourse is to kind of follow on this blue path, picking up a couple things to pair with the Fed Cruiser. Gonna discard and draw now to get this Builder Bot, and hopefully try and make something work and hope that something like Fed Cruiser doesn't get stolen early on and spell my doom. So I draw a bunch of econ, but I flip this Pack Warship into him, and there's no way he's going to let me have this. But he actually, he grabs Mobile Market, picks up the Ion Station, and goes for draw discard. Mobile Market's such a great lead card. And he ends up getting the 4 econ to also pick up the Pack Warship, scraps the Scout in his discard pile. And here he just does another cycle. He knows he has a Assimilator in his deck. He wants to potentially pair it next turn, so he just says, all right, we're going to just rip the top card of our deck and hopefully set up for a better turn next time. So now I'm really feeling it. But this is the turn that I kind of make a play for things. The discard actually ends up helping me, and I go for these cheap greens. I just keep on flipping them left and right. And here, the Recycle Bot flips out, and I make another green Plague Pod. Love to see it. And so here, the rest of my deck is pretty trash, and so I make the decision to put the Recycle Bot on top, and I still got my Gambit, so my goal next turn is to scrap out as best as I can and hope that this is enough to get me to the finish line. Bork's turn, I think, is fairly tame here. Picks up the Farm Ship, scraps, perfectly good turn for him. Here I'm going to just, again, everything I'm doing is to just get through as much of my deck as possible, to scrap as much as possible, so that I can hit those blue cards over and over again. pick up that cargo craft and flip out a Sentinel. So here he's paired his warship with his mobile market. He used a simulator for econ here, and it's going to pay off really nicely. He flips in a transit nexus, picks it up, and adds in a little extra damage. So now he's got a couple big cards to my, well, frankly, nothing. My little army of green guys. So from here, I basically say, okay, I've got to go this Sentinel nesting ground pathway to try and make something come out of this, because those blue cards, if I don't kill them quickly, or I need some sort of plan against them, they're simply too strong. So here he picks up the Merc Battle Cruiser, which everybody loves, great in any situation. His hand was kind of trash, so he's just kind of cycling as much as he can, and since that hand is trash, we know that this hand is probably real good. So at this point, I pick up the Defense Center just to try and get some bases and more damage in, and I flip up the Temple Guardian, and at this point, my plan is pretty clear. We did this before, and we're going to do it again. We're going to go for the Temple Guardian, and we're going to basically abandon our green strategy and instead go for pairing ship bases and docking. That's the great thing about Lee, is if one of your plans doesn't work, as long as they scrap, you can just abandon that plan halfway through and do something completely different. So here my last card is bad, so I take out his base, I elect to ditch the Swarmer or whatever it's called, and pick up the War Kite, get rid of that last card in my deck, and end my turn. So unfortunately here, my hand's kind of trash. He's looking at that Acer 4 going, so, another blue card for my deck. And knowing what's in his deck, we know at this point he's got a simulator and transit nexus, so it's a matter of how he wants to do it, not if. Drops his bases, grabs a cargo rocket, scraps, goes for econ here again, picks up another little scrappable base, and flips a Night Star into me. So I'm liking this. I've got the econ for it. I play my good cards. I make sure that I optimally play this, so that I can scrap the scout out of my hand that I don't intend to use. And unfortunately now I flip a pulverizer into him. And we know he's got plenty of econ in his deck to pick this up. So here, he's got green in his deck. And he's got the out to cargo rocket to put the pulverizer on top and draw it, but he doesn't have the green in his hand. So he actually kind of starts fishing in his deck, either to pair probably the pulverizer before he scraps cargo rocket to put it on deck, or just to make the educated decision, which is what he does here. He's just going to kind of go through his deck, cycle, doesn't find the green, uses the draw discard, and then elects to put the pulverizer on top so he can guarantee it next turn. Just uses his turn efficiently and scraps, and now we know that his deck is pretty. He's got some good amount of damage in those last couple of cards. But I've got bases and I've got one set of pairs, and here I'm just going to fish for that Sentinel that I bought earlier. This is basically my priority one, because hopefully the game plan is to do it and then win the next turn, and I've done it here. I've gotten both of them. Here I make the play. I know he's got that pulverizer in hand, but since I'm rolling over, I just kind of want to maximize the probability that I'm going to find something to close out the game. So here we see, he's making his plays. He's got the bombs, elects for damage, draws into his new deck. He elects to go yellow here so that he can draw a discard, ditch the Stellar Falcon instead of playing it to do it. Picks up another base, gets that heal and damage, grabs the Transit Nexus, and now he's got a bunch of econ and a pulverizer in his hand. He's got a green on board, so he's got the draw for it, but he's basically just going to go fishing for the biggest possible card to try and kill me this turn. And he flips out He's just buying whatever he can. A missile silo. So he blows up the missile silo. He's got the free base destruction in the back warship. And he has his last bit of damage for lethal. I don't think I had, with all that heal, he's also healed himself back up to 29. So I don't think I had it either way. I would have had to have done some drawing and discarding myself. But either way, this was a super great game. There were a lot of moves that I think a lot of people wouldn't make kind of from both sides. So I just wanted to try and highlight them for everybody.